An elected lawmaker in Jammu and Kashmir has stirred the hornet's nest. He said Jammu and Kashmir is not an integral part of India. Engineer Rashid has demanded plebiscite in the state. The ruling BJP is up in arms against the independent MLA from Langate in North Kashmir. Is this freedom of expression, or does this now tantamount to sedition? What should the Speaker of the Jammu and Kashmir State Assembly do? We will debate that on the show. Our top focus story on the broadcast is Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar. He's ordered a CBI discreet inquiry into disproportionate assets of two major generals of the Indian Army. One of the Ordnance Corps and the other of Army Service Corps. The biggest such probe ordered so far. This threatens to blow the lid of a very murky promotion scandal in the top echelons of the Indian Army. We will talk about that in greater detail on the broadcast. But first, I also want to talk about Bengal, which is turning into India's Afghanistan. We'll get you a special investigation on poppy cultivation and how drugs and weapons rule the roost in Bengal. When we broke that story on our broadcast, our OB van, our outdoor broadcast van, was attacked. India Today's managing editor Rahul Kanwal will get us that big India Today exclusive. But first, I want to focus on the alleged multi-crore promotion scam in the army. It sounds too bizarre to even be true. But Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar, our top sources in the army headquarters, are telling us he's told the CBI to carry out a discreet inquiry against two serving major generals of the Indian Army. There are allegations of disproportionate assets. The probe has been ordered against Major General Ashok Kumar and Major General S.S. Lamba following the zero tolerance towards corruption policy of the Narendra Modi government. The two-star generals are in the eye of a storm for allegedly paying a bribe for a promotion to the next rank. Of course, the board has still not been declassified, is what top sources have told India Today. This is the first such CBI inquiry ordered by the Narendra Modi government against senior army officers. Now, top Ministry of Defence sources have told India Today various actions taken on the basis of complaints received against some officials and in pursuance of a zero tolerance policy against corruption. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar first had a discreet inquiry conducted and then forwarded all information to the Central Bureau of Investigation. The Bureau is yet to register an FIR or even a discrete case. In this case, they're carrying out preliminary investigation. The promotion board was said to have been conducted during the tenure of former military secretary, Lieutenant General Bhalla, now retired. Questions were also raised about certain other officials pertaining to this promotion board, which still has not been declassified, is what sources are telling India Today. And I want to bring in our defense correspondent Jugal Purohit for more on this. Jugal, bring us the latest on this huge development.
That's right. Gaurav, what we understand is that the Defence Ministry and particularly the Defence Minister himself in this case has issued a recommendation to the Central Bureau of Investigation to launch a full-fledged inquiry after he was satisfied that the case is of course there for proceedings to be initiated against these two serving major generals, which of course is a very big blow to the credibility and you know, to the aura of the Indian Army, especially. Gaurav, just a couple of years ago, if I could just take you back, there was a time when the Army's internal health vis-a-vis corruption was in the focus, which it hasn't been in the last 2 years. But yes, this particular case of two major generals, serving major generals, one from the Army Supply Corps and the other from the Ordnance, two very important logistical arms of the Indian Army being involved in something like this, which has merited an inquiry, of course, is going to be taken very seriously.
Now,
what
the
we now know, Gaurav,
board,
is that the CBI will determine whether
the promotion board, we are told, is still not declassified, Jugal, but What were the allegations against these two-star generals, and two of them we are told, will this inquiry then be expanded, because there is also the military secretary's branch, and it also has someone called the MSX, civilian bureaucrats, who have a very major role as far as grading of these officials and paperwork is concerned. So is this an inquiry just against two generals, or does it also take into its focus certain other officials, the civilians in the MS branch?
So Gaurav, the way it works is that there were these boards which were set up in the middle of last year, which is when these complaints arose, which is when there was information we reported out here, but the army back then had denied the entire story, saying that there was no anomaly or irregularity found. Back then also the defense minister was apprised based on what was being heard or speculated, after which the defense minister held back the promotions of several major generals. That particular batch in fact was held up, and Mr. Manohar Parrikar, the defense minister, had red flagged certain important cases, certain peculiar cases in that particular list. Now we aren't sure if that particular list and these two major generals are the only ones, or there's somebody beyond this as well. But the fact is that this story is not of today. It has been in the works since September last year, which is when the first time we had seen that the defense minister and his ministry had stopped that particular board from proceeding and promoting major generals to lieutenant generals. And from that point onwards, it has been on hold. And what then comes out today is actually the culmination of that discreet in-house inquiry that the MOD had initiated. Charges particularly, Gaurav, pertain to disproportionate assets vis-a-vis the known sources of income for these two major generals. And answering your question, if whether the scope is limited to them or not, the fact is, Gaurav, that as of now, our sources inform that there is nobody who's out of the ambit. And remember, there is a provision if the person or the authority has after that superannuated, there are provisions to get them again into the ambit of law and proceed against them. So we will have to wait and watch just how the technical terms play out and how the CBI actually receives and moves forward on this particular recommendation of the Raksha Mantri.
Keep tracking that story, Jugal. I will come back to you for more. He's been stellar in his performance at Adelaide, unbeaten at 90. So we had a Virat Kohli fan in Pakistan, a Pakistani national, who then had Virat Kohli's posters out in a big way, and
when there is an issue of keeping the conscience of this nation, we will not go back from that. And I will not go back to the past to tell you what you have done. But we believe what we did is the right thing, and we will make sure that